I'm wondering if Adnan is going to put his family before our family. This feels like a slap in the face.
Tigerlily still doesn't seem to grasp the gravity of her situation. She doesn't seem to understand how much her life will need to change in order to bend to Adnan's rules. And similarly, Niles doesn't understand that his life won't get easier if he continuously lies to everyone.
No, it's just my responsibility to take care of your wife. You have to do it.
I believe that I will have a better job lined up as soon as I get back to the States.
Do you, Niles? Do you really? Now, before we get to that, let's kick off proceedings with Adnan and Tigerlily. So, the pair are on this trip to Turkey to try and sort out their issues, but mainly to try and make a baby. So, in order to do so, Adnan does what Adnan does best. He sweeps their problems under the rug. He completely ignores them and tries to act like they don't exist.
But today we are not going to focus about these things because my mother and my brother is flying in for a couple of days.
Now, Adnan's mum and brother are joining them to celebrate Thanksgiving. And Adnan, well, his expectation is that, like at home in Jordan, like his mum and all of his female relatives do, his wife will also be doing all the cooking. Only, I think he's got the wrong end of the stick. I don't exactly get the impression that she does much cooking back in the States. She probably has help for that. I mean, if she can't even brush her own hair, do you really think that she cooks?
This first time I will try your food. Don't get mistakes, please.
I'll make it work, baby.
This is your word now.
I have really got to make sure I impress his mom.
Yeah, no pressure then. Good luck, Tigerlily. You're gonna need it. Tigerlily is now expected to cook a Thanksgiving feast in a kitchen she's not used to, with ingredients that aren't in English, for visitors she's expected to impress, all within a few hours. Oh, and if she thought she could ask her husband for any help, she better think again, because Adnan intends to just watch. He's not going to lift a finger. I mean, just look at him. As Tigerlily tries to figure out the Fahrenheit to Celsius conversion for the oven, Adnan's there just playing on his phone.
Baby, what does it mean on the oven when it's a picture of a cloud raining?
Keep asking me a question about the kitchen, and I told you I don't know anything.
This, Tigerlily, this right here is what your future will look like. You better get used to it. In Adnan's mind, the kitchen is a woman's domain. I mean, surely she must realise by now that she's going to be expected to live a life with, how should I put this, more traditional gender roles. Like, she'll be the one expected to cook, to clean, to raise the kids. And as for him, well, traditionally, I guess, he'd be expected to earn the money. Only Tigerlily's rich. She's the one with the money, millions by the looks of things. So he doesn't even need to do that. His life is set. They've got money and she's going to do all the work. Like, what is he bringing to this equation? And more to the point, is Tigerlily okay with that?
He needs to be more supportive when I'm clearly panicking. It's starting to make me worry how things are going to be when he's at home with me in Texas.
Now, it may just seem like a dinner, but it's not. This first meal is a really big deal. This is the first time that Tigerlily is cooking for Adnan's mum. She needs to prove a point. She needs to prove to his mum that she's a worthy wife. Like, this is a test of sorts. Do her skills in the kitchen live up to Adnan's mum's expectations?
My mother care about me, and in the future I'm eating good. If Tigerlily make a good food for me and for my mother, she will love Tigerlily more and more and more.
Now, remarkably, very, very impressively, Tigerlily manages to pull it off just in the nick of time. As Adnan's family arrive, Tigerlily is just finishing up, but she's nervous, very nervous. You see, the food that she's about to serve them is very different to the food that they're used to. How will a traditional American Thanksgiving dinner compare to what they are used to eating? I mean, will Adnan's family like the taste of sweet potato and marshmallows?
Very nice. I like it, Jackie.
I'm glad that you like it. This is a super special moment for me because being a part of a big family is always something that I wanted.
All of Tigerlily's fears, her nerves, were all in vain. Adnan's mum and brother are the perfect guests. They profusely thank her. They're really grateful for all the effort she's gone to. And in fact, in what happens to be quite an emotional moment, Adnan's mum turns to Tigerlily and says to her, "I see you like my daughter." I mean, yeah, I think they're probably closer in age than they might like to admit, but it's nice. I mean, it's a nice thing to hear. Tigerlily has passed the test, but what would a family gathering be without heaping pressure on the newlyweds? You've been married for what must be a few months now, so how come you haven't started popping out the kids yet? She asks.
بونبوني بوب صغير بدي طفل اشوف.
She says hopefully to see
انا ما بضغط
our
عليكي
children
بس انا
and
حابه اذا بتبيني لبي لي هالطلب.
Now, luckily for Adnan's mum, Tigerlily and Adnan are one step ahead of her. That is, after all, why they're here in Turkey, to start trying for a kid. Those efforts seem to be a priority for them. It's more important for them than trying to figure out all of their issues, in fact. But it's at this point that the family begin to get emotional. Why? Well, if they were to conceive, they wouldn't be there to see the child grow. It's going to be heartbreaking for us, says Adnan's mum with tears in her eyes. It's going to be so difficult with you in another country, with you guys in the States and us in Jordan. And seeing his mum this emotional, Adnan offers a solution.
when I'm going to US, maybe I will travel. I will going to visit her like in 1 month, 2 months.
What do you mean?
Ah, so that's how Adnan plans to spend all of his free time, going backwards and forwards to Jordan every other month. I mean, I get that Adnan's very close to his family, right? But going backwards and forwards every other month, just forget the cost of the flights. What about childcare? What, is Tigerlily expected to stay at home and raise the kids while he's off gallivanting around the world?
I'm not going to be okay with him going to Jordan while I'm at home raising the kids. Adnan needs to be the supportive husband that's there with me.
Look, I don't want to be presumptuous. Maybe I'm wrong, right? I hope I'm wrong. But something tells me I don't think Adnan sees child rearing as part of a male's duties. That's a woman's job. And what surprises me most, what I'm always surprised by, is how Tigerlily doesn't seem to grasp what her marriage is going to look like. It's as if she refuses to see the reality of her own situation.
I'm wondering if Adnan is going to put his family before our family. This feels like a slap in the face.
I don't think there's going to be any distinction between your family and his family anymore, Tigerlily. But I guess that's a lesson you're going to have to learn another day. Because for now, let's catch up with Niles and Matilda after Niles admitted that he's broke and unemployed. So it's the morning of his wedding, and Niles is off to see Mr. Ark to ask for money.
Getting a loan from Mr. Ark is the only option that I have to pay for all the wedding expenses.
Good morning, Dad. Good morning.
Without that money, well, there's no ceremony.
Now, remember, Mr. Ark isn't actually related to Niles. He hadn't even met him before a few days ago. Mr. Ark is an elder in Matilda's community. He's standing in for Niles' parents because they want nothing to do with this. They don't support this wedding. And look, there's certainly an argument to be had that it's because of Mr. Ark that this wedding is even going ahead, and not necessarily in a good way. He's the one that heaped all of this pressure on Niles to go ahead with it. Niles said he wasn't ready and he had everything sorted out with Matilda's family, and yet Mr. Ark got involved, acted as his dad, and demanded that it happen immediately in order to honour Ghanaian customs. But is Niles really on board with it? Is he really ready for what married life entails?
Are you prepared to marry? Are you ready? I said yes. He said yes. You came purposely to marry, and now you are going to marry, to be a family, and it's your responsibility.
Now, let me just be clear, right? I don't think Mr. Ark has any malicious intent here. Like, I don't think he's doing this with any ulterior motive. I get the impression he saw a flustered young boy in front of him in the form of Niles, and he's decided it's his responsibility to whip this boy into shape, to try and mould him into a responsible man, a husband. But as Mr. Ark reinforces what that means, what it means to be a responsible husband, Niles begins to panic.
Are you sure you can take care of Matilda after the massage?
Yes, I will be able to.
Will you, Niles? Or are you just lying again? How exactly do you plan on doing that when you have no money and you have no job? Bringing a foreign wife back to the States, applying for a visa, getting her over there isn't cheap. But I guess that's a problem for another day, because first, more pressingly, Niles now needs to pluck up the courage to ask Mr. Ark for a loan. Yeah, if Mr. Ark had ulterior motives, I think he's in for a big shock.
I only have 1,300 CDs, so I am gonna need some financial help to make up the difference.
Oh, damn. Mr. Ark isn't liking what he's hearing. When he agreed to take Niles on as his son, he wasn't expecting to fork out money from his own pocket. I wonder if his demands that Niles marries Matilda right away would have been quite so pressing if he'd known the full extent of what would be required of him. Yeah, Mr. Ark has fallen for the assumption that just because he's from the States, Niles must be rich, only that isn't the case, and it's come as quite the shock to Mr. Ark.
I was surprised to hear from Niles that he don't have enough money. You see, this man is still playing a joke with me. Such a person coming from America to marry and telling me you don't have enough money.
Now, a clearly taken aback Mr. Ark reminds Niles that it's a man's job to take care of his household. You're the one meant to be supporting your own wife, he says. Don't go coming here asking me for money. Where's your own? Why don't you have any? So when Niles explains that he's recently lost his job, Mr. Ark's doubts about this wedding suddenly intensify.
No, it's not my responsibility to take care of your wife. You have to do it.
I believe that I will have a better job lined up as soon as I get back to the States.
Now, Niles tells the camera crew that he is trying. He's been hunting for jobs ever since losing his last one. I've gone for interviews, he says. In fact, I had an interview just before I came out to Ghana. It looks promising. I think I did well, but it's not 100%. All it is, to be frank, is an interview. It doesn't mean much, Niles. And yet, Niles once again finds himself caught in a lie. You see, he's now exaggerating this interview to now make it sound like he's actually got a job lined up, when that just isn't the case.
Yes, I can take care of Matilda. I can promise that I will take care of her, and I will promise that I will come back for her.
Niles' promises are based on nothing. He's telling Mr. Ark what he wants to hear, but Mr. Ark wants more. He doesn't want ambiguity, no wishy-washy promises. Give me facts, give me specifics, he says. When exactly will you come back for Matilda? What date and time? And that is obviously something that Niles can't give.
I want to hear from your own words that I pledge, Daddy, by 3 months' time, I will take Matilda from Ghana to US.
By 4 months, Matilda will be in America with me.
I just love Mr. Ark's assumption of this role. Okay, Daddy, he wants him to say. Now, Niles goes from saying it will take 2 months to eventually saying it will probably take 4 months. And when Daddy asks him if he's sure, he changes his answer again to 5 months. The thing is, these timelines, these answers are completely plucked out of thin air. He's making promises to a village elder, no less, that he might not be able to keep. I mean, we've seen how long a visa process can take, and that's when the applicant has a stable income, has a job. He's got no chance of getting that visa if he can't show the US government that he has the financial capabilities of supporting Matilda for years, even if they were to get divorced. I don't think Niles is in that position right now. So yeah, this visa could take years before it actually gets granted.
Don't deceive me. Don't let me be disappointed of you. And as a responsible father and a daughter, a son I love, I'm compelled to assist you to complete your marriage.
Hate to break it to you, Mr. Ark, but there's a very good chance you probably will be disappointed by this son. Still, with Mr. Ark now agreeing to lend Niles some money, the wedding, today's wedding, does look to be back on. But the marriage is starting out on a lie, and whether meaning to or not, Niles has just taken advantage of Mr. Ark.
Niles, like me, working up for the physically challenged people. So, I know he's a good man. I love him as my son. So, I have to see that Niles gets married before I die.
Look, I know that Niles' heart is in a good place. I don't think that he's made these promises deliberately intending to deceive Mr. Ark. But that's the thing, isn't it? That seems to be a pattern with Niles. He seems to say whatever it will take. He seems to lie in order to try and make a rocky path ahead of him just that little bit smoother. But it's worrying to see that he hasn't learnt his lesson yet. He hasn't learnt that inevitably these lies will catch up with him.